Alright, today we are going to chapter 7. So allow me to read in Mandarin first. Now, 第7章天长地久，天地所以能长且久者，以其不自生，故能长生。是以圣人后其生而生先，外其生而生存。非以其无私邪，故能成其私。Oh, this is interesting. So anyway, today I'm not going to read from the 老子道德经 the Penguin version. Just there's a little bit of deviation. I'm going to look at one of this that was done some time back, right? So in English, we can explain this, and let me read it in English. This translation that I have over here. Oops. No. Let me start. Heaven is endless and earth is eternal. Heaven and earth is lasting because it is not self-serving. Thus, it is endlessly eternal. So the sage puts himself last and thus he advances. Externalizes his body and his body subsists. Disregard his desire, thus he accomplishes. Now, let's look at the Mandarin version, right? It says that the heaven and earth can last very long, right? And why does it last very long? Because it did not really think of itself as lasting, but what it means here is that to a certain extent is bordered in the sense of many other things, not just himself. Many other things have to last long, then it can last long. So in other words, you do not need to just care about yourself, right? Everything can last long, then you can last long. So whether you care about others or not care about others is not important, and it's also important at the same time, right? Because only in the event that everybody can last long, then you can last long, because it cannot be the sole survival of this long-lasting thing, right? So there must be many other things that is lasting. So therefore it says that by the fact that everybody can last long and not just yourself, therefore things can last very long. So here it points to the fact that, right, if you look at it from the other perspective, that means if you want to last long, then you have to ensure that everybody else lasts long. So that's what it's trying to say. Now the other thing it says is that the sage don't just think about himself or herself, right? It has to think in a bigger pictures that everybody have to last long, right? So everybody has to be moving at the same pace, not that you are in front or others people are behind, but both are all in the same plane, in the same pace, because it's only in the event that everybody lasts long, then you can last long, right? Because everyone is only a small part of this totality, right? One small part that is missing, this totality will fail. So in other words, you and others is the same thing, right? So if we look at that form, then we look at togetherness of this wholeness. Therefore, we do not think about ourselves, but we have to think about everyone, everything. All the small little thing that is around us has to survive and last long. So, and then the other thing it says that 外其生而生存. Now, if you look at, now it comes back to the person himself, right? Earlier, we have said that, you need to 强其骨, means you have to take care of your health. 外其生, in the way the Tao look at it, there are two parts to a person. the inner part and the external part, right? So most of the time people only think that the internal part is important, the external part is not important. Here it tells you very, very accurately that the external of your body is also important, right? That means your health is also very important, right? So the 内心 is usually the virtual part, the psychological part, the philosophical part, the part that is virtual or shi, that form. So 外其身 means the physical part of you has to survive, otherwise your whole person will collapse. So you need to have good health, right? Otherwise you no longer exist, because if you die, how could your thinking live on? How could your other parts of you, the inside part of you, live on? No, you can't. So that's why he's trying to say 外其身而生存. So that's the other important part to remember. Now, 非以其无私邪，故能成其师. Now, this part is interesting. 非以其无私邪. 无私邪 means you do not have your own desire, right? Or desire, right? But now he said 非以其无私邪. That means totally you do not bother about whether there's this desire, he or me or you, to separate all these things. So it's not about all these things, right? All these things, right, could not accomplish what you want to accomplish. So to accomplish what you want to accomplish has nothing to do with any other thing except the thing itself, right? So if you want to do something, you only have to focus on what you want to do, right? And not anything outside of all these things which you think that you could accomplish because of so many other factors you have to take care of. But the most important is to focus at what you are doing. So 非以其无私邪. 无私邪, right? So if you have a 私心 means you have something else other than the thing itself. Therefore, you lost track of what you're supposed to do. You lost track. It's just like some people say, he started the whole journey, right? Throughout the whole journey, he forgot, right, what he started out to do because of this journey that he slowly lost himself. So the most important thing is to be focused of the thing itself, so that you do not have any other agenda, any other thing that deviates you from the main thing that you want to do. And this main thing you want to do, there's nothing else except the thing itself. So therefore, to accomplish that, we need to be focused, right? So that creates the existence, of this thing. Now, therefore, existence. What is existence? The existence of anything is focus. It's now, and it's not something else. It's only at this moment, on this thing, that you have to be focused, right? So this is how I read the last part. I think this part, many of us may not be right reading it in the same manner. So let's look at why this part from Daodejing, the Penguin version, the last part. It is not because he is without thought of the self that he is able to accomplish his private ends. Is a question, is it not? Because he is without thought of the self that he is able to accomplish his private ends, right? So this is how they interpret it. But I think it's in this intense focus that you lose track of time, you lose track of your existence, you lose track of everything except the thing that you wanted to do. So there's nothing else that's outside this thing that you want to do. Therefore, you can accomplish it. Right? This is very familiar because if you look at some Chinese martial arts show, right? They always have this thing called 人剑合一. That means the sword and the man becomes one. And there's nothing else, there's only one. So in other words, if you are highly concentrated, what do you have? You have not even an understanding of yourself because you're no longer there. But your focus, your thinking, your thoughts is there to accomplish that particular mean. That's why in the Chinese form, they always say 忘我的境界. That means you have lost yourself. You have only something, an understanding of the thing that you want to accomplish. So this part, I believe, is what he's saying. And of course, like they say, the Tao that can be said is not the eternal Tao. So whatever I say is also bound for interpretation and other form of interpretation. So the moment I say it, it may not be right. So it's up to the people who listen to this, have their own take. Yeah, that is what is it, how I interpret section 7 or chapter 7. Okay.